The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
And welcome everyone to another edition of No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We're presented by Belly Up Sports in association with Gozilla Media. My name is Ryan McCarthy. I'm one of your hosts, and tonight Justin's not joining me. He's at an event. He is having a night off with his sister and some other family peeps. So I'm bringing in a guest in just a moment. But before we do that, just need to remind you about our social media channels, which are right down here below: Twitter, Instagram, and the occasionally used TikTok. It's at NoCredsREQ, Facebook.com/NoCredsREQ, YouTube.com/at NoCredsREQ. If you please wouldn't mind, like, comment, share, and subscribe to all of our social media channels right down here below. On the podcast side, subscribe to the podcast on whichever podcast platform you choose, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Good Pods, iHeart, TuneIn, Pandora, whichever podcast platform you choose. Subscribe to the podcast, leave us a 5-star rating, and also if you're on a podcast platform where you can leave a review, please rate and review. If you leave a review, we might even read it on the air. Also want to welcome everyone listening on American Angel Radio at 8 a.m. on Wednesday, and also on Rumble, the replay at 8 a.m. on Wednesday as well. And because we're a live show, we've got some comments coming in already. We just want to remind you to engage with the show. We want your comments, whether you're watching live or on the replay. I'm going to play that magical sound. All right, so we're going to bring in my guest this evening. He is host of Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. He is also the owner, manipulator, the operator, CEO, CFO, and COO of Snowman Multimedia. Although I think his wife Jody is actually the CFO. But we're going to bring our special guest. We've got Mr. Brian Snow. Snowman, how you doing tonight, sir?
You got that right. My wife is in charge of the money. She's the chief financial officer. She's the button pusher when I'm in the booth. And she's my beauty. She brought pizza tonight. My daughter made brownies, so I'm a happy camper.
You're loading up on carbs. You getting ready for a marathon?
No, I'm getting ready to sleep in a little bit so I can take my daughter to work. That's my marathon.
Carbs will do that to you, man. They'll put you to sleep.
I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready now. The girls are in the kitchen just cutting it up and having a ball.
I can hear them. Yeah,
my wife, my daughter Cheyenne, who surprised me. She just walked in this door and goes, "Hi, Pop." I'm like, "Wait, what?" Yeah. And then my daughter Sonia woke up because she has to work later. So the girls in there talking. I'm in here. So we're good.
All right. Well, tell the fam I said that Mr. McCoffey says hello. But we're gonna dive in immediately because Snowman's only got limited time with us. But I figure we'll dive into the NCAA men's and women's bracket, as Snowman knows and pays attention to a lot more college basketball than I do. I've got my handy dandy bracket right here for the men's side. I did not fill out the women's side, but I know there are several, and Snowman will talk some women's basketball because we got some teams coming to Albany that are some pretty huge programs coming through my locale over the next couple of days. We got South Carolina. We got LSU, and we got the Caitlin Clark Show, otherwise known as the Iowa Lady Hawkeyes. So talk to us a little bit more. Talk to the audience a little bit more about what we can expect from the women's bracket on the women's side, especially with the Albany regional. I know there's a regional going on in Portland. So we got like two super regionals going on in two different cities at once. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, lay
Super,
it on us,
super
man.
regional.
Lay it on us. What's going on with the women's
I
bracket?
have never seen a bracket where they go the seeds go 1 through 4 than I've seen here. Because in one regional, you got South Carolina, Notre Dame, Oregon State, and Iowa. They'll play Friday, 1 versus 4, South Carolina and Indiana. 2 and 3 will start the day, Oregon State and Notre Dame. And then you got 1 through 4 in Portland with from 1 to 4, Texas, Stanford, North Carolina State, and Gonzaga. And 2 and 3 will lead things off at 7:30 with Stanford and North Carolina State. And you got Texas and Gonzaga 1 and 4. They'll play at 10. Anybody, all 4 number 1 seeds are still alive. And anybody can win this national championship. And when I say anybody, I mean just that. However, when you get to Saturday, you don't have a 1 through 4. You got 1, 2, 3, and 5 because Colorado eliminated Kansas State. So 1 and 5 is Iowa and Colorado. That's the feature game. That's my call at 3:30. I'll be up at 3 with the pregame. And LSU and UCLA is going to be a barn burner. So I may wind up. I had planned to do a UFL doubleheader that day. No, because of that bracket, my plans have changed. You know how we did the division finals in the CFL?
Yep.
And we had only planned to do one, but then we were only going to do the West final because it was BC and Winnipeg for a 3rd straight year. But then old Snowman's wheels are turning, and at the same time my wife's wheels are turning. And when I told her we were doing one, she says, "Why don't you do the other one?" And before I could open my mouth, I get a message from Mr. McCoffey. Hey, we're going to do both of them. Baby, here's your answer. She goes, "Okay, I'm going to go to Mom's. I'll be over there because I know you're going to be raising hell here. What do you want when I bring back food?" Food. That's like our answer to each other. But then you have on the second part of the day, you have a 1 and a 5, Southern California and Baylor, because Baylor took out the number 4 seed who escapes me right now. And then you have probably the most intriguing matchup of the night and maybe the weekend, save Iowa. UConn at number 3 and Duke at number 7. Yikes. You got the Duke Blue Devils and my good friend Chris Edwards, who is the voice of the Lady Devils, is hopping up and down like a madman because he's so excited. Baylor took out 4-seeded Virginia Tech 75-72. And then you have UConn, who took out Syracuse 72-64, taking on Duke, who took out, ready for this, 2nd-seeded Ohio State, which is the second time Ohio State was a top seed in a tournament. If you go back to the women's Big Ten tournament, they were the number 1 seed, Iowa behind them, and they got drilled.
Yeah, did Nebraska beat them?
Nebraska beat the daylights out of Ohio State. Nebraska beat them up, and then Nebraska beat Maryland to reach the Big Ten title game and then ran into Caitlin Clark in the second half. So these matchups are going to be wild. These matchups are going to be absolutely silly, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I was noticing the Albany bracket, on one side, and it has Iowa and LSU, the last year's national finalists,
Mm-hmm.
in the same bracket, and they could be on a collision course towards the Elite Eight.
Yeah.
That's gotta be that's pretty wacky for just. I don't see that very often in the men's side. I mean, certainly don't. Do you see it very often on the women's side too?
You're definitely not going to see another men's side this year because every other number one seed is a fraud. The only number one seed in the men's bracket that is not a fraud are the defending champions, Connecticut.
Well, about to say UConn and FAU would have met in the round of 32 if your Northwestern
Wildcats hadn't had anything to say about it. Oh, I got a visitor.
Oh, you got a visitor.
Come here, Pumpkin. I think that's the first time I've had him with me. Hey, buddy. Oh. This is Pumpkin.
Yeah, tag along sleeping out in one of the love seats in the in the living room.
You ain't gonna be up here too long, Pumpkin. See, this is how he gets me. This is how he gets me. How you doing, buddy?
Does he always have that? Does he have that orange cat energy?
Yes.
Of course he does.
Since he was getting, yes.
Yep.
Since the first day we let him in the house, because they were originally in the barn for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then we let him out. They found their way into the house. You've seen Winnie already.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And you know Winnie's the ringleader.
Yep.
All right, Winnie's the ringleader. You got this rambunctious one here, and we also have Binks. And Binks is shy. Although I've had him with me when he was a kitten, when he was really small.
Mm-hmm.
Binks hasn't made his way here in studio, and I put a three-letter capitalized word yet.
Mm-hmm.
Because as soon as I say that, either tomorrow or Thursday, Binks is going to find his way in here.
Always seems to. All right. Sorry, Snowman. So I'm going to give him my final four. And you might laugh at a couple of them because...
Try me.
All right. So my final four, because I love chaos. All right. So I got UConn.
Of course. Yep.
I got Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
Creighton. And Houston.
No.
I figured.
No. Hell no. Hell to the no. You actually trust Houston after what happened against Texas A&M?
Look, like I said, I don't pay attention to basketball, college basketball enough anymore. I was just going by, all right. these four teams look all right. I mean, Creighton, I figured you gotta have a Big East team in there. I'm a Big East fan.
Of course.
I'm a Big East fan going back to the days of Georgetown, Villanova, Syracuse,
St. John's, Pittsburgh.
St. John's. Yep. All those
the original Big East. Yep.
Yeah, the OG Big East.
The original Big East when they played at the Carrier Dome, the Capitol Center. Of course, St. John's features MSG.
Yep.
And they were known, I'm going to get in trouble for this, but I got to say it old school, when they were known as the St. John's Redmen.
Redmen. Yep.
Right? And you had the Syracuse Orangemen.
Yep.
Of course, now this world has become so PC, it ain't even funny. Then you got guys like us that don't care. But you know who I have in my regional final? I want to say this is the the one of my regional finals. You're not the only one that likes chaos.
Oh, I love chaos.
My regional final is UConn and Illinois.
Okay. Well, I've got Iowa State.
Iowa State ain't beating Illinois. Not with their height.
I'll tell you who I've got in my regional final brackets. I've got UConn and Iowa State.
Okay.
I have Bama and Arizona because I don't trust UNC.
Nor do I.
I got Houston and Marquette.
I don't.
Although NC State's got that riding that mo right now.
Ghost of Valvano. The ghost of Jim Valvano lives.
And I've got Creighton and, well, I had Utah State. I had Utah State and beating Purdue because I thought Purdue were frauds.
Well, Utah's going to get a foot put in them by Gonzaga.
Well,
I have
Utah State's
Gonzaga.
already out. Utah State's out. They
No,
got beat
I
by
have
Purdue.
Gonzaga beating Purdue
Yeah.
in the Sweet 16, and I have Gonzaga also beating Creighton.
I got Creighton.
Creighton
I got
I
Creighton
love
go all the way to the Final Four. So
Creighton ain't getting to Phoenix. The
I
Bull.
don't know.
You know what makes it so? You know what makes it so bad? Gonzaga's last Final Four appearance. Guess where? Well, one of their last Final Four appearance. Guess where they went? Phoenix, Arizona, 2017.
Yeah, they got a mud hole stomped in them by Baylor.
No, they did not.
Didn't they?
They made the 2017. Gonzaga made the championship game, and they lost in the final minute to North Carolina.
Oh, okay. Who am I thinking of that got stomped by? That was unbeaten during the regular season and got mud stomped by Baylor in the last 5 years.
I think it
Who am I
was.
thinking of?
Was it Gonzaga? I think it.
Yeah.
Live research coming.
Live real time research.
Live
Here we go.
Real time research. Because there was no tournament in 20, and we all know why that is.
Mm-hmm.
It was Baylor, national championship 21 in Indianapolis.
That's what I thought. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Gonzaga was 31-0 coming into that game, and then Baylor hung 47 on them in the first half.
Yeah, Baylor bullied them and won that national championship. Yeah,
bullied them bad.
And that program came back from the brink too, because if you remember all the bad stuff that happened with them.
Indeed,
and they came back from the brink, like similar to SMU. Which, by the way, I find it funny that Clemson is trying to sue their way out of the ACC now.
Out of the ACC.
Florida State's trying to do the same thing. And I said, you know what? This is what happens when you bring SMU. You bring SMU to the table. Everybody fears SMU.
Mm-hmm.
Now they want out,
and they're going to split. They're going to split. They're going to split faster than George Kittle taking in a touchdown pass.
Yeah. well, who's your Final Four?
There you go. When Pumpkin's climbing the door, that's his cue. Daddy, let me out.
Yep.
All right.
All right. Who's your Final Four? I used to do
my Final Four.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I had to change it now.
Yeah.
All right. My Final Four goes Gonzaga, Illinois, Arizona, and North Carolina State.
Okay.
I picked North Carolina State from the beginning of the tournament because there's no way they should have won 5 games in 5 days in the ACC tournament in Washington, D.C. And yet, they did just that.
Do you think this long layoff might affect them or not? Or absolutely or no? Could it affect them?
Do you think North Carolina State cares at this point? They're playing with house money.
Yeah, that's true.
They're playing with house money. They're reliving the ghost of Valvano, 1983. And they're living his words. Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's true. Well, it's always one thing about March is that it's madness. And then I had some upsets. I'm pretty proud of myself for picking some upsets.
Did you pick Oakland to beat Kentucky?
No.
Because I certainly did.
I didn't. I did pick James Madison to beat Wisconsin.
Good. I can't stand Wisconsin.
And I had Colorado beating Florida.
Me too. Not 102-100, but I had Colorado beating Florida. I certainly did not have them winning 102-100.
And I had Grand Canyon beating St. Mary's.
Same.
Yeah. Although BYU, I think you're dead to me because I had you beating Duquesne, and unfortunately,
my wife's team lives, including the way she pronounces it. It's not Duquesne anymore.
I got a BYU fan in the chat who's probably going to stop watching as soon as I said BYU is dead to me.
And she just responded too.
Yeah, she just said, "Hey."
and you got to remember, according to Jody, it's not Duquesne, it's Duquesne.
Duquesne, of course.
And there's a story to that. We were out on a date one night, and the television, we were at Applebee's, and the TV was behind me. And Jody looked up and said, "Baby, who's that playing? That doesn't look like Duke University." I turned around and I said, "Oh, that's Duquesne. They're the Dukes." I got a look from my wife of, "What?"
What?
I said, "Duquesne." And then she says, "That's not Duquesne, that's Duquesne." And then 3 tables around us were cracking up. I was cracking up. Jody just had this innocent look of, "What?" Waitress comes by. "Why are you all laughing so much?"
Yeah.
Told her the correct pronunciation of Duquesne, and she walks off laughing.
Oh, I gotta tell you this story. I didn't tell this story last week on the show, but I I listened to a local radio show. They're good buddies of mine because I interned for them at the 4-letter network, the local 4-letter affiliate
Say no
in
more.
town back in 2019. They're now with Fox Sports 980 in the Albany area. So listen to them every day, 3 to 5. They're good friends of mine. So they're talking about the tournament last week, last Wednesday. I think it was last Wednesday. It was last Tuesday. So they're talking about first round upsets and who people are talking about. And I sent them a tweet on Twitter, tagged them both, and I wrote Longwood, and I had Beavis a Butthead gif underneath them laughing. Longwood. And then I get a reply.
Oh no!
From the Longwood Lancers account, official account on Twitter. And they replied, quote, "When we make it, the world turns into one big 14-year-old boy." Close quote. To which I replied with a gif of Shia LaBeouf applauding. And I'm gonna buy a Longwood Lancers t-shirt just because of that. Just because of the clapback.
The Longwood Lancers.
Yep.
And he's right. Whenever they make it, all the jokes come out.
And they've got a great Twitter account. I mean,
yes.
Right after their loss to Houston, their first tweet was, "Well, at least we scored more than UVA."
Use a troll. Use a troll. Use a troll. I said that use a troll.
You ain't nothing but a troll. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm definitely buying some Longwood gear after just
I might do the same just for that alone.
Just for that. I'm just like, God, I gotta hand it to him. Like, it's any account that can clap back with that kind of intensity and that kind of vigor and that kind of
they're good friends. They are good friends of mine.
Like, yeah. Longwood Lancers.
So next fall, y'all will see me with some Longwood. I drink to them myself.
I just find it hilarious.
I will have some Longwood Lancers stuff next year.
I just found it hilarious that they're just going all because they're such a small school. I guess they're a small private school based in Virginia, and they're just going around looking for any kind of mention of Longwood in their on social media, and they'll just go right at the person who says it.
But see, their response to you was fabulous.
I mean, the fact that I put a Beavis and Butthead gif up, that just sparked the fire.
Yep. Their response to you was epic and perfect.
We make it, the world turns into a 14-year-old boy.
In the immortal words of one Cole Johnson, no lie to be found.
No, sir.
No lie to be found whatsoever.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
All right, Snowman. I forgot to make one announcement before we started the show. We had a production meeting. Dustin and I did on Sunday, local restaurant, and I mentioned yesterday that on Snowman in the morning, on my coffee with McCarthy segment, that we're bringing back no ticket required. You know what? I might as well play that bumper right now. I'll play that bumper for
Go for it.
no ticket required. So give me a second here. Oh, there we go. All right, folks, that's right. Coming this summer, the return of no ticket required. And these are the movies that... Hey, a black man's not talking hockey or baseball, all right? You didn't need to bring that out.
But I do.
But you did. So, not in any particular order, these are the movies we'll be reviewing this summer. And feel free to watch along and review with us during the summer. So, we're going to be watching Goon with Sean Patrick, forgot his last name, and Liev Schreiber. Rush, the Iron Claw. That's the movie based on the Von Erichs.
Yep.
Boys in the Boat, which I guess is a biopic about a team from the University of Washington in the 1936 Olympics, the rowing team.
Mm-hmm.
The Program, American Underdog.
Excellent.
And the last movie is I, Tonya.
Emotional damage.
So those are the 7 movies we're going to be reviewing this summer.
Can y'all see the look on Ryan's face that he wants to throw something at me for those sounds I'm throwing out there?
Lucky you're in Iowa or Indiana. One of those I states.
You know, and the bad part is my wife and I get confused also, because we're looking at opportunities any and everywhere that we can. We just want to get out of here. All right.
Hey, I looked at you like I looked at Will Smith when I watched King Richard. All right. I still want to slap Will Smith for making that movie. Oh, I had to sit through that entire thing.
I'm sorry.
You didn't know what accent he was speaking throughout the entire movie, and yet he still won the Best Actor award for that movie, for his role in that movie. I'm still mad about it. Still mad. Anyway.
Can I do this?
Yes, you can.
Thank you.
Yes, you can. All right. Before Snowman gets out of here, go visit the comments section. Dr. Lady Esquire saying hello there. Snapna saying sports ball.
Ref ball.
Ref ball. Julie from Michigan saying hi. Jersey G saying hi. I'm here to report that Lucille, her daughter, saw Cosmo, BYU Cougar, on a scooter on campus, and Cosmo waved hi to her. Aww.
Nice.
Aww.
Very nice. Is it Jersey? Is it really called the Marriott Center up in up at Utah, up in Provo? The basketball arena. Is it called is it called the Marriott Center?
She also says don't forget to give us a thumbs up.
Yep.
Giants fan 56 saying, hey, Snowman, just popped on, hit the like button. Have a great stream.
Thank you. Thank you.
Jersey G is a big fan of Pumpkin, as is Dr. Lady. She also says about when you mentioned about the St. John's Redmen and the Syracuse Orangemen, ain't nobody here going to get you in trouble for saying that, Snowman. Thank you joining us all the way from Norway with what in the all types of blue hell?
Wait. I can
hit it.
I can equip it. I can equip it with this.
What in the all types of blue hell?
There it is. And of course, we've got an ad.
Here we go.
This stroll down memory lane is brought to you by Bum Leg Orthopedic. the only thing keeping Anthony Glassman Davis's body intact. That's bum leg orthopedics, folks. Oh, my leg. Oh, my leg.
Oh, my leg. Oh, my leg. Oh, my leg.
And Good Stink Foot Powder, the best cure for athlete's foot. Good Stink Foot Powder. Get your stink on.
What in the all types of blue hell?
And Jersey G has never heard of any of the movies that I mentioned that we're going to be reviewing this summer. So, hey, guess what? Again, you guys can watch along with us. We'll tell you which movies we're going to be watching that week, and then we'll review them the next episode. So, movie night. Joker. All right, Snowman. I know you gotta run on out, but I'll give you the floor. Let the good people know where you are, where they can find you on social media, all that stuff. Go right ahead, sir.
Oh man, SNWMN Multimedia is where you can find me. Of course, I got Snowman in the morning each and every morning. And do me a favor, folks. Help this disabled broadcaster help his family. I'm dropping my my Cash App in the chat here, but if you can help me help my family, that would be so much appreciated, as we are trying to get everything back together. I have survived pancreatic cancer. I have survived an amputation on my right foot, but still got to do more. And with the blessing of my family, they said, go for it, make this work for you. So I'm trying to make this work for me. My Cash App has now been dropped in the chat. If anybody can make a donation to help us or help me help my family, it would totally be appreciated. And thank you, Ryan, for having me on tonight. I appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on. And kind of, I want to say short notice. We kind of planned this last week, but with Dustin being out, it was going to be a different show. So, but thanks for stopping by. We also, the two of us, we're planning on doing some alternative play-by-plays this summer.
Yes, we are.
We also might launch another project. We'll launch a project together too.
I'm ready for it.
All right. Well,
as long as it don't involve a certain picture that makes you dead on the coast of North Carolina, I'm good.
No, my spirit is still hovering somewhere on Whalehead Beach in North Carolina. Thanks, Cole Johnson. All right, Ryan Snow, thanks for joining us, man. And we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk some more sports. We'll do some NFL rule changes.
Hold on a minute. Hold on. Come here.
Oh, wait, can I show them my magic trick?
This is my daughter, Cheyenne.
Does it involve a pencil? I hope not.
What did he say? Did he
doesn't involve. He said doesn't involve a pencil.
No, it's way better than that. Okay.
Oh boy.
I need to borrow this napkin.
Why are you borrowing my napkin?
Snowman, do you have any magic music?
I don't.
I have to go down here?
Here, let me. Here, come here.
This is live television, folks.
This is live, folks. This is my daughter Cheyenne, and she's gonna apparently show a magic.
Here. Okay, can they hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
I can hear
Hi, I'm Cheyenne.
Oh, hey Cheyenne, how you doing? I'm Ryan
This
McCoffey.
is a napkin.
Uh-huh.
Do you see it?
Hi, napkin.
Yes.
Okay, Dad, I want you to pick a number between 1 and 5.
Right, got it.
Okay, tell me the number.
3. Get out! Get the heck out! Come here. 51, and I still fall for that trick from my kids.
This magic moment. No credentials required.
I don't know who's the dad, me or you. That was the most dad joke thing I've ever done.
And you know what's bad? She knows more of them, because if I wind up in the hospital, she winds up saying them to me. And if she doesn't, my wife does.
Hey, laughter is the best medicine after all, Snowman.
I love you too, girl. Be careful.
Nice to meet you, Cheyenne.
Bye.
Fade to break, please.
All right. We're going to break. We'll be right back. Snowman will be gone, but I'll be back right after this word from Righteous Felon Jerky. You are tuned in to No Credentials Required.
Righteous Felon Craft Jerky is the official jerky of Belly Up Sports. For over a decade, Righteous Felon Craft Jerky has led the American meat snack revolution by concocting delicious, adventurous, U.S.-sourced jerky recipes for uncompromising carnivores across the country. With 15 different flavors to choose from, Righteous Felon has all jerky lovers covered, and by using promo code BELLYUP, you will get 15% off your purchase at RighteousFelon.com. Do your taste buds a favor today and rip into a bag of Righteous Felon jerky.
That's right, folks. Righteous Felon Craft Jerky. Delicious, delicious beef jerky. They've also got some turkey jerky if you're more into the non-red meat kind of thing. And hey, I don't judge. It's all good. You can do what you want. But I ordered myself a bag, 3 bags actually, of the craft jerky, and it's delicious. Got to get it for me. It's a delicious, delicious craft jerky brand. I got the OG Hickory, the Soul Survivor, and the Maryland Monroe. If you're into the Old Bay seasoning, that's interesting. Maryland Monroe is your thing. Soul Survivor, a little bit of teriyaki with a little bit of spice in there, and the OG Hickory, which just hits the spot every time. At least 20 grams of protein with every bag, and low sugar too. So if you're somebody who is diabetic, trying to watch your sugar, also need a little bit of protein in your life, a little protein pickup in the mid-afternoon when you're feeling a little bit low, get yourself some craft jerky from righteousfelon.com. I got a box coming tomorrow. I got the Soul Survivor. I got the OG Hickory. I got some teriyaki Balboa. So teriyaki jerky, real nice. Also got some beef sticks. So I'm getting the Fiery Habanero, getting the OG beef stick. I'm going to try the beef stick. Also got some stuff called biltong, Biltong. It's an African, it's a dry cured, air dried meat based on South Africa, based on an African style of making jerky. So I got the dark garlic and I got the truffalo bill. So I got a bag of each coming tomorrow. I can't wait. I love myself some beef jerky. Love myself some protein. Because like I said, I'm trying to drop a few LBs, folks. Things are working. Things are going the right direction. But every once in a while, I'm going to need a little pickup in the afternoon. When I get the hungries, I get myself some Righteous Felon beef jerky. And you can do the same thing. Go to righteousfelon.com and you choose any of those. Get yourself a box. Build yourself a box of the craft jerky with whichever craft jerky you want. But you want to use promo code BELLYUP at checkout. You get 15% off your order. So not only are you helping the network one of the networks I'm on, which is Belly Up Sports, you're also helping this show as well. So go to righteousfelon.com, use promo code BELLYUP at checkout. You get 15% off your order. And again, this is for beef jerky, for the beef sticks, for biltong, shirts, any kind of gear they got. Try it. Try some Righteous Felon today. Get yourself a few packs. Try it out. I think you'll be satisfied. It's great stuff. All right. In these last couple minutes of the show, to talk about the new NFL, couple topics. One of them being the new NFL rules. The other one being Shohei Ohtani and his goings on. Talk about the new NFL rules. And 2 NFL rules came out yesterday. Actually, one came out yesterday and one came out today. They were focusing on player safety in particular. The NFL has dropped the drop hip tackle, which means which is trying to reduce injuries on the field. If you watched the Bengals-Ravens game last year, you saw Mark Andrews get injured because based on the hip drop tackle that broke his ankle. He was out the rest of the regular season. He was back in time for the playoffs, but it was a serious enough injury that he was out for, I believe it was 2 months. So it's in certain aspects, yeah, it's a dangerous tackle for sure. Some guys get hurt, some guys don't. I know in one of the leagues that I watch, the National Rugby League, they have banned the hip drop tackle. And look, some of these rules, some of these things exist. Some of these rules exist. I noted on my Twitter account, which is @WhoIsRyanMCC. So go ahead and give me a follow there. But I said on Twitter, yesterday. I said, judging from social media's reaction of the new hip drop tackle rule, a lot of people were against it because they're wondering, oh, where's the defense? How's the defense supposed to play football now? There's ways to play football, guys, all right, without using the hip drop tackle, which I think is a pretty dangerous tackle. But this is, continuing on, I said, judging from social media's reaction of the new hip drop tackle rule, the only reason why the NFL implements these rules is that it infuriates social media enough to watch what polarizing rule the NFL will implement next. And guess what happened today? The NFL is changing their kickoff rules. So if you are familiar with the old XFL from 2020, also from last year's relaunch in 2022, you will notice the kickoff rule in the XFL was a lot different. I'm going to present to you the kickoff. What the kickoffs will look like this year in the NFL. This is based off of a 2020 game. Again, I do not own this material. This is just for free and fair use. This is also being shown on YouTube, so this is on YouTube. So if you tag me for anything, again, this is free and fair use. So this is what the kickoffs will look like next year.
Hunter Nicewander is back to kick it away. Keenan Reynolds for Seattle. That kick better go beyond the 20, and it does. To the 15, here's Reynolds. Up the middle of the field, out to the 31-yard line. Antoine Williams makes.
All right. So what you watched, basically, is that the kicker of the team, of the team's kicking off, will kick off from their own 30-yard line. It has to travel past the opponent's 20-yard line. There's a, quote, landing zone where it goes from the 20-yard line all the way to the goal line. It has to land somewhere in that landing zone. And the players on each team, the team kicking off is lined up on their opponent's 35-yard line, while the team that's receiving the ball is on their own 30. You cannot move until there is contact made by the kicker to the ball. So once he kicks off, you can go, you have that 5-yard cushion to make your blocks, go to your lanes for kickoff return, do whatever you need to do to stop the runner, to stop the kickoff returner. It's perfectly fine. I'm okay with this. I'm okay with this. I thought that when the XFL implemented this kickoff in order to reduce injury, to do something innovative, because the NFL, we talk about, and this is the primary complaint that people have about the rules in the NFL, is that the NFL is not innovative enough. I would say wrong. I mean, look at the offensive, and yeah, you could say, but Ryan, the only reason why the NFL is so innovative is because they've changed the rules to make it more of an offensive game. Okay, fair. That's fair. It's a fair assessment. But we haven't changed kickoffs. We've barely changed kickoffs. Well, we had kickoffs from the 30-yard line, moved up to the 35. You see the amount of touchbacks that's being we've had over the last half decade or so. You don't see many kickoff returns taken back for touchdowns these days because they always sail out of the end zone, or they sail into the end zone. They just don't do a return. We'll take the kickoff. We'll take the ball at the 25-yard line. All right. That's one way to kind of gain momentum. I wouldn't say gain momentum, but one way to get the ball is to just take it at the 25. Just let the ball go sail through the end zone, take it at the 25. This way, you're ensuring that this kickoff return at every level, during every kickoff, you have to be innovative with special teams. We can be innovative on offense. We can be innovative on defense. But what about special teams? Punting remains the same, pretty much. Kickoffs really haven't changed over the last, say 100 years of the game being the game being there, of the game existing. And I'm looking at an article from ESPN.com talking about the new rule and how it's going to be. It's called the hybrid kickoff rule, and the intention, as I said, is to reduce injuries. You're minimizing high speed collisions, and you're increasing return rates because you can't have a kickoff. You can't have a touchback after every kickoff. That just makes the game boring. It slows the game down. It makes things. I wouldn't say it makes things complicated, but it just makes the game kind of boring. So basically, again, you have the ball being kicked off at your own. You're kicking the ball off from your 30-yard line. Your return team, your kickoff coverage team is lined up at your opponent's 35-yard line. The other teams at, I'm sorry. Let me correct myself here. So the article says a kicker will continue to kick off from his 35-yard line, but the remaining 10 members of the kicking team will line up at the receiving team's 40-yard line. At least 9 members of the team will be between their 35 and 30-yard lines in what's called the quote setup zone. So unlike the XFL, which kicks off from their 30, and you have the coverage team at their opponent's 35 and the returning team at their own 30, it's going to be at the 40 and 35 respectively. Now, continuing what the article states is that the ball will ideally drop between the 20-yard line and the goal line, called the quote landing zone, where the receiving team will have one or more likely 2 returners. If the ball lands in the end zone or goes out of the end zone, the resulting touchback will be spotted at the 30-yard line. If it's kicked out of bounds, the ball will be placed at the 40. Okay, that's interesting. It's an interesting twist. Now, it's just going to be. I think this is going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see. I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how special teams coordinators will adapt to this rule. How they'll do some sort of special plays to try to make sure that their opponent doesn't try to get a punt or kick return for a touchdown. Now in the old XFL, there's only one player who ever had a kickoff return in that kickoff situation before the 2020 season abruptly ended. That was Joe Powell. Joe Powell spent years in the Arena Football League. So, and he's still playing in the National Arena League as well. I remember him playing for the Baltimore Brigade in 2018 and 2019 when he used to play My Albany Empire. So, yeah, this is going to be it's going to be different. Now, according to the article, it talks about onside kicks. This is what about onside kicks? And it says teams will have to declare their intent to use an onside formation, which will look like a traditional formation used up until this season. That rules the possibility of a surprise onside kick, a big allure that doesn't get nearly as often as it may seem. In 2023, there were 2 in 272 regular season games. So there were 2 onside kicks used in 272 regular season games. It also says, what about squib kicks? Under the new rule, any kick that lands short of the 20-yard line will be ruled down immediately and marked at the 40-yard line. That will eliminate the squib kick from use in most situations. And according to a quote from Darren Rizzi, who is the special teams coordinator for the New Orleans Saints, he says those strategical parts of the old kickoff at the half and at the end of the game, where you can maybe eliminate some time off the clock with a squib kick and things like that, that element will be gone as well. So you're not going to see as many onside kicks, I don't think, this year. I mean, there are only 2 in 272 regular season games this year. So it's not being used that often. And squib kicks are just generally made to kill time. So say, for example, we got 10 seconds left in the game, and you squib it, it maybe takes off 2 seconds, 3 seconds most. And it gets some plays off from there. So basically, onside kick is going to be pretty much eliminated, and the squib kick will no longer exist. That's not necessarily a bad thing. So the hip drop tackle is going into a hip drop tackle penalty, which will be a 15-yard penalty and automatic first down. And I guess there's also a new rule about the challenges. I guess you're gonna be allowed 2 challenges. And if someone's out there can research for me, that you get 2 challenges, but you may get rewarded a third. I believe it's the let me do some real-time research here. NFL challenge rules. And according to yardbarker.com, there were an article yesterday, and it says, and I found a tweet from Jonathan Jones, I believe it's an NFL insider. It says the NFL has approved a change to its challenge rules. A team now gets a third challenge if just one of their earlier 2 challenges was successful. The Detroit Lions proposed the rule. Previously, you only got a third if both your challenges were successful. There is no 4th challenge. So if you successfully so you get your 2 challenges. You get your 2 challenges in every game. But the rule states now, if you win one of your challenges, you earn a third challenge. Okay. But you don't get a 4th challenge. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. It's a fair rule. It's a fair rule. So you got a 50-50 shot of earning a third challenge. So if you challenge one, you lose it. But if you challenge another, if you challenge a play, you lose it. You still have 1 challenge remaining. If you have a second challenge and you make that challenge, you earn an extra challenge. So you've got a good shot of earning yourself an extra challenge with this new rule. I like this rule. The hip drop tackle is going to be interesting because you don't know if it's going to be a bang bang play. Now the horse collar tackle, which was infamously implemented by Roy Williams, old Texas Longhorn, Dallas Cowboys safety, was infamous for the horse collar tackle because he couldn't catch up with the player, so you might as well try to yank him back and make a tackle. Hip drop tackle is going to be interesting. I'd like to see how the rules committee is going to try to implement that, because you might see a play where there is no hip drop tackle. It's a clean tackle, but the referee might call it a hip drop tackle. You might see that in the field. You might see a mistake. So here we go again with these new rules coming into effect next season. So it's going to be an interesting time to find out what these rules are going to be all about. I wonder how they're going to enforce them in the preseason as opposed to the regular season, as opposed to the postseason, as opposed to the Super Bowl. So new rules coming to you 2023, folks. NFL always kind of keep themselves in the conversation, as they usually do. Hey, we've practically talked about the NFL for at least 6 months now. Every week on this program, we'll talk about the NFL in some sort of capacity, whether it be on Tuesday night, whether it be on Saturday morning for our brunch show, or during the week. We're always talking NFL. Almost always talking NFL, because they know how to keep themselves in the conversation. Dare I say, football is the new pastime in the United States. Football is it. Football stays in the conversation. The NFL knows how to stay in the conversation, whether it be regular season, postseason, off season, with free agency, cuts, player cuts. The draft's coming up. The draft is next month. Don't forget we're gonna have some coverage here on Belly Up Sports for the draft. That's gonna be coming up next month. So, and you got OTA, you got OTAs, you got next round of player cuts, which is on June 1st. That's coming about. Then you get the preseason, and we go diving into the regular season. Oh, NFL just knows how to stay in the conversation. Speaking of national pastimes, let's talk some baseball. Talk some Shohei Ohtani. How much trouble is he really in? That's a great question. Because yesterday he decided to have a hold a press conference, release a statement in regards to the allegations regarding his now former interpreter, and we're going to talk about that right now. So, last December, as you may know, Shohei Ohtani signed the richest contract in Major League Baseball history. I say in sports history, in North America. 10 years, $700 million. He's deferring his much of his salary. He's scheduled to make he's supposed to make $70 million. However, for the first 10 years of his contract, he's only making $20 million because he deferred the rest of his contract from 2033 on. He'll be paid $68 million for the last 10 years, for the remaining 10 years afterwards. So, baseball. You want to make some money? Go play baseball. Then we had the news come out last week about how the Los Angeles Dodgers fired his interpreter, Ippei Mizuhara, because his interpreter was accused, and these are still young allegations too. He had an investigation by Major League Baseball and by law enforcement involving allegations of $4.5 million in gambling debts by Mizuhara. Now, baseball has seen its share of scandals. Most recently, the Houston Astros cheating scandal. That also involved the Boston Red Sox and the New York Yankees. The New York Yankees were cleared of such punishment. You've had steroids in baseball. You've had gambling scandals before with Pete Rose. Pete Rose is no longer in the Baseball Hall of Fame because he bet on baseball while he was managing the Cincinnati Reds. You've had scandals all over the place. Baseball is not for as much romanticism as there is about the game of baseball, about Major League Baseball in particular. It is far from a clean sport. Far from it. Remember the movie 8 Men Out and the gambling in the game fixing scandal with the Chicago Black Sox back in the 1900s. Don't forget everything with Roger Maris, all the controversy surrounding him and the Yankees fans not wanting him to break Babe Ruth's records. So much that the commissioner of baseball at the time, when Roger Maris broke that record, put an asterisk next to the number 61 because he did it in more games than Babe Ruth hit 60 home runs back in the day. You have scandal after scandal after scandal. And this is nothing new in baseball. Well, Shohei Ohtani decided, all right, I gotta meet this. I gotta put myself ahead of this. And yesterday he decided to speak with reporters for a grand total of 12 minutes yesterday. And through his interpreter, Will Ireton, holding basically it's akin to a PowerPoint presentation. The summarization of this is that he had no idea that this was happening at all. According to an article on USA Today, it says that he stated he had this is Ohtani, so he had no knowledge, involvement, or idea that his interpreter and friend Mizuhara had a gambling addiction that racked up millions of dollars in debt. And he says, quote, I never bet on baseball or any other sport or ever asked anyone to do it on my behalf. I never went through a bookmaker, ... up until that team meeting. I didn't know that up until that team meeting, I didn't know that Ippei had a gambling addiction and was in debt. He also says that he never heard of, spoke to, or met a Matthew Boyer who was a target of a federal investigation that brought this debt into light. And he said he never gave Mizuhara any permission to use this money. He also went on to say, quote, Ippei has been stealing money from my account and has told lies. I never agreed to pay off the debt or make payments to the bookkeeper, unquote. So how much trouble is Shohei Ohtani in? Who knows? Who knows? Because he is currently the face of Major League Baseball. Whether you like it or not, He's an international baseball star. He's an international athlete star. He is known all over Japan as being this wonderful baseball player. He can smash home runs. He can also strike out batters. He's that damn talented. Now, in the article from USA Today, it has a subsection asking, will Ohtani be punished? They say probably. Said none of the bets were made on baseball, so Major League Baseball was originally not going to investigate, but now the league is launching an investigation. I have to wonder if he's going to step away from the game voluntarily while this investigation is going on, because they're going to not only Major League Baseball, but also federal investigators are going to have to get involved here, having to go into his banking records, having to go through any receipts that he might have or may not have had, according to his former interpreter, Mizuhara. I think he's going to step aside voluntarily. How badly that'll affect the Dodgers, I don't think it'll affect them at all. They were pretty good lineup, batting lineup and pitching lineup before this came to light. I don't think the Dodgers will be in trouble at all. But Shohei Ohtani, I think he's going to step away. I think he'll step away from the game and voluntarily. Again, this is just speculation. I also think it's probably best for him to step away, because we don't know what's in those records. We don't know. All we know is that $4.5 million is missing somewhere by somebody. Somebody took it. Was this interpreter? How far he went down this rabbit hole is going to come to light. Now, we recently had a former Jacksonville Jaguar staffer who was sent to prison because he stole, I believe he stole over $20 million in funds to fuel his gambling habit. And I remember from an article from The Athletic saying he was so deeply in debt, he was so addicted to gambling that he was spending his nights watching Turkish women's professional volleyball to fuel this habit. Now, I don't know if his interpreter was in that kind of trouble. I don't know what he was betting on. Ohtani said it was definitely not on baseball. Although we don't know if it was Major League Baseball. It could have been the NPB, the Nippon Japanese Baseball League, which is the Major League Baseball equivalent in Japan. It could have been betting on anything. We don't really know until this comes to light. So, is this shocking? Yeah, because it involves one of Major League. I would say the face of Major League Baseball right now. He's on posters. He's just he's a great baseball player. Let's put it that way. And the article goes on to say the last baseball player to be disciplined for gambling was in 2015. The league investigation revealed Miami Marlins pitcher Jared Kosar placed illegal sports bets. He was fined without suspension because he did not bet on baseball. And it says if a player bets on baseball games in which he is not involved, he faces an automatic year-long ban. If a player bets on baseball games in which he is involved, that's a lifetime ban. So we're going to find out eventually whether or not Ohtani had any involvement. If he had involvement, that he bet on sports on any sports period. If he bet on baseball, and if he did bet on baseball, it was in games that he was involved in. And that could be, he could be in a lot of trouble if he was. So the truth will come out. Lights always shine on the darkness. And we'll find out what's going to go on with him over the next couple weeks. So let's see what happens. I'm curious to see. This is a story that rivals any soap opera that's currently on. Well, if you watch soap opera these days, I worry about you. Sports is the ultimate entertainment right now, so this is going to be interesting. All right, let's go to the comment section before we get out of here. A lot of our comments coming from our friend Jersey G. I mentioned the fiery habanero beef stick. It's like, oh, fiery habanero. Lucille might like that. Yeah, get your daughter some. Although I don't know if BYU allows a company called Righteous Felon on campus. She asked, so you wouldn't want to kick that out of bounds on purpose in regards to the new kickoff rule for the NFL? No, you don't want to kick that out of bounds because it goes on your opponent will start from their 40-yard line if they kick it out of bounds. And I also kind of wonder if this is going to carry over into the college ranks too. You know, we talk about player safety. Oh, I forgot to mention, we're all talking about player safety with the NFL, trying to protect their players with the kickoff rule and with the hip drop tackle rule. They're thinking about having a game on Christmas Day this year, and Christmas Day is on a Wednesday this year. So I kind of wonder how they're going to have that juggling act of having two teams, maybe more, play on Christmas Day. I wonder how the scheduling is going to be for that, because you're getting into at that point, it's week 15 or 16, and bye weeks usually stop at week 13 or 14. So I'm kind of wondering how they're going to juggle this schedule. Are the teams that are playing on Thursday, they're playing on Wednesday, are they going to have to play a Thursday game or a Saturday game so you can have enough rest between then and Christmas Day to play? It's going to be a logistical nightmare in terms of scheduling for the NFL if they do choose to play games on Christmas Day this year. She also, Jersey G also says, I guess the challenge rule makes it an incentive to challenge correctly. Absolutely. That's why you have spotters in the booth. She also goes on to say, I wonder if Ohtani deferred his money to keep his interpreter from trying to swindle all that money from him. No, actually, the reason why he deferred all that money was because he wanted to keep the Dodgers luxury tax lower, because I believe they currently are number one in payroll in Major League Baseball. You know, let's do some live research. Go to spottrack.com. It's always a helpful tool for figuring out salaries and whatnot in sports. Oh, I'm sorry. I was wrong. The Los Angeles Dodgers are eighth. They're the eighth highest payroll in sports, with $217.7 million with a $217.7 million payroll. Number one is the New York Mets, followed by the Yankees, Astros, Phillies, Braves, Blue Jays, and Texas Rangers. So, the contract, he designed his contract so the Dodgers would not have to pay as much money in the luxury tax, and they can afford to bring in more players. The thing is, with Major League Baseball, they don't have a salary cap, so there really is no difference. But they have a luxury tax where you pay X amount of money because you paid so much money for their salaries for players. So, but no, it wasn't because he knew his interpreter was trying to swindle money from him. It's just because he wanted to bring in more talent to the Dodgers so they could win a World Series. And has it worked? Not really. They have one championship since their last title in 1988. That was in 2020. But you can argue whether or not it was a legit title because it was in the bubbles. She goes on to say the answer is not to have a game on Christmas. We'll see. The NFL has done stranger things. They've actually played on Wednesdays during the COVID year 2020. She also says, oh, that's interesting about the money. Thanks. Hey, no problem. That's why we're here. No credentials required. That's why we do the live research, because we want to make sure we're as factual as possible. So it can be a trusted not only a great program, a quality program, but also a trusted resource for any facts that you might want to tell your friends. All right, we're going to wrap things up here on this edition of No Credentials Required. We're going to Press Pass to Talk Sports. Again, check us out on our socials right down here below. Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. It's at NoCredsREQ. Facebook.com/NoCredsREQ. YouTube.com/at NoCredsREQ. And please go ahead. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to all our social media channels. Oh, I forgot to mention, we're trying out Twitter verification. We're doing a monthly monthly trial of verification on Twitter. So no credentials required. we have that handy dandy blue check mark. So you know it's us. So you know it's our material. So we're going to try to release more material on the Twitters, on our Twitter channel. And we can play longer videos. So you might see some clips here and there for 10 good minutes, for clips from the show. Check out our Twitter channel. We appreciate it. On the podcast side, subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker. I'm running out of voice. Spreaker, Good Pods, iHeart, TuneIn, Pandora, wherever you podcast. Rate and review. 5-star rating would be preferred. If you leave us a 5-star rating, that'd be awesome. Also, if you're on a platform where you can review, we might even read it on the air. Thanks for tuning in to No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We're presented by Belly Up Sports in association with Gozilla Media. Dustin will be back on Saturday. We'll have another Saturday brunch edition talking who knows what. We'll figure it out by then. Well, I mean, it's a long the sports news cycle is a continuing cycle. It's just time is a flat circle. So is sports. So until then, I'm Ryan McCarthy. Thanks for tuning in. Good, and as what Dustin would say, good night, everybody.